Toronto Maple Leafs are making more moves as they have recalled an interesting player to come up for the Toronto Maple Leafs before tonight's game. We're going to break that down as well as discuss something interesting that's going on with William Nylander. So I'll break all it down in this episode, but before we get into it, quick reminder, hit the subscribe button. If you're a part of the 70 or so percent who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Leafs content, and we will be live after tonight's game. Subscribing is free. We're on the road to 14,000 subscribers, and we're getting very close. If you want to help us towards that goal, make sure to hit that button. But Darius, a lot to go over today. And some weird things are going on. We have some, I guess, conflicting reports to a degree here, but they're making moves, and that is in the form of Alex Steeves, someone that we talked about on this channel before, and is very interesting. So you can see here, the Leafs have recalled Alex Steeves from the Marlies on an emergency basis ahead of tonight's game. And we can start with Alex Steeves, then we'll dive into something surrounding William Nylander, which, again, he was missing from practice yesterday. We have an update on his front. But I just want to get your thoughts on this first, Darius. So Alex Steeves, a guy we spoke about last season. We saw him briefly. And now we're looking at, again, he's playing very solid in the AHL. Sorry, he's tied for the AHL lead in 5v5 goals with 7 alongside Flames prospect. And Steeves was 5th in the NHL or the AHL last year in 5-on-5 scoring. So a very solid player. And again, the Leafs have a lot of depth in the AHL. They have a lot of depth in their current NHL team. But again, this means that Connor Dewar probably isn't quite ready yet, or they don't want to rush him in. What are your thoughts on this interesting move? It was not something I expected, given the fact they have Connor Dewar on the squad.
Yeah, the fact that it was an emergency call up this morning and the stuff we heard about William Nylander, which we'll get to in a second, I was just quick to assume that William Nylander might not be playing, but maybe it is Connor Dewar that is not getting back into the lineup yet. And it is an emergency call up, so everything's fine. You don't really have to worry about salary or anything like that. But this is a player who deserves it. To get away from, all the logistics and all that stuff, this is a player who deserves it. I would argue he's the second best player in the Marlies right now. The only guy who's been better is Alex Nylander, and he literally can't be called up because he has an AHL contract. But this is a player who's started the year fantastic. He's been doing great things in the AHL the last couple of years. So he's certainly deserved it. And I think he can make a bit of an impact for the Leafs if he plays tonight or whatever the plan is for him. Certainly, I don't think he would play maybe in the top 2 lines or anything like that, but I think he can make a real impact lower in the lineup tonight. So it's just going to be interesting. Maybe it has something to do with the back-to-back as well. Maybe Matthews isn't as ready as we thought. Maybe he won't play again tomorrow. Again, that's just speculation, but he's, of course, unlikely tonight. Looks like he won't play again, but Alex Steeves certainly deserves it, and I'm glad that he got the call-up.
Yeah, obviously he's not playing tonight, and we thought that he was going to ultimately, but it kind of went down to the fact that they're being very precautious with his injury, especially. And again, we thought that he was going to be ready for today. We know that that's not the case, and I'd also be surprised if he plays tomorrow as well. Austin Matthews, that is, and it's going to be interesting to see how the lines shake up tonight. But like you mentioned, Alex Steeves, he's been a guy, and if all things being equal, would they probably call up Alex Nylander if they had the ability to? Maybe. But again, it's emergency call-ups. You don't have to worry about the logistics of salary or roster spots or things like that. And again, he scored 4 goals and 6 points in 2 games over the weekend and gets the call tonight. So he is the hot hand, and they clearly want to ride the hot hand. But again, the interesting thing is they have Connor Dewar, they have all these guys. So what's the reason behind them needing an emergency call-up? And that's what's still a bit unclear. And let's dive into the William Nylander situation a little bit here. And we also have some Nick Robertson comments at the end to get to. Stay tuned for that. But it's a very interesting, confusing morning. So William Nylander, we know he was out of practice, wasn't skating yesterday, and he was out for the optional skate today, which he doesn't usually do while he's playing. He was absent from practice yesterday. This was from David Alter. And then it came out again from David Alter that he is on for the optional skate, like I said earlier. But then it came out afterwards with him basically saying that he's going to play probably tonight. That came out from Mark Master. So there's a bunch of different weird things going on. I think what happened was, and I'll let you dive into it in a second here, he's on for the optional skate because he didn't skate yesterday, so he wanted to get a skate in ahead of tonight's game. But putting 2 and 2 together, everybody thought that he was going to be missing tonight's game. But a report came out from Mark Masters highlighting the fact that everything is looking like he is going to be making his way into the lineup tonight, which still leaves a ton of questions, but a lot of different, I don't want to say conflicting reports and that anybody was incorrect. It was just very confusing, but he is likely to play tonight against the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, it looks like William Nylander will be playing, but in the events that happened this morning, Alex Steeves gets called up first on an emergency basis. So my brain immediately goes to Max Domi or Nylander are not playing because they didn't skate yesterday. And that paired with the fact that Nylander was skating at optional skate this morning, which he normally wouldn't do, or anyone who is playing normally wouldn't do unless you miss the skate. But obviously, like you say, David Alter, clarified that he didn't skate yesterday, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. He didn't skate yesterday, so he probably just wanted to get a skate in today, so he's feeling good for the game tonight. And obviously, they have back-to-back games, so that's why it was an optional skate as well. But it looks like Nylander will play. I'm still interested about Alex Steeves and that call up, and if factors into the lineup tonight and where, because at this point we don't have lines for tonight. So there's nothing been tweeted. Berube didn't say anything, so it's going to be interesting. It might be a game time decision. I'm interested to see what that looks like tonight. But yeah, it looks like Nylander will play, and they kind of it looks like it was a maintenance day. I don't think the Leafs were lying or anything like that. I don't think Max Domi or Nylander are injured or anything. So it looks like they'll both play.
Yeah, and I assume maybe Steve's is up in case somebody's not ready. Again, we'll have some more light on it towards puck drop tonight. But again, he looks like he's going to be good. Domi, we assume he's going to be all good as well. So, I mean, in lieu of Matthews missing another game and a couple more games, they kind of need William Nylander out there. Obviously, the Ottawa Senators are 7-7, I believe, this year, unless they played yesterday. But they're doing they're not as easy of a game as they were in previous years. They obviously got Allmark. They have some better goaltending now. So with Linus Allmark there, I'm curious to see how it factors up tonight, especially with the doubleheader. You have a chance to, again, they're 9-5. They're 9-5 right now. They have a chance to really continue to push the Florida Panthers for that number one spot in the Atlantic Division. So let us know down below what your thoughts are on that. But some other comments from Craig Berube surrounding Austin Matthews. We also have something on Nick Robertson here, but he said, on whether Austin Matthews is facing any setbacks, not really. It's just not progressing where it needs to be, so we're managing it. We want to make sure when he comes back, he's fully healthy at 100%. So no huge update. I mean, he's not progressing where it needs to be, which is not ideal, which is why I doubt at this point he plays tomorrow. They probably give him some time off. And again, the Leafs schedule for the rest of this month, as we've mentioned in the previous two videos, is very up and down. Like, they play a lot in December. They only have one game next week, so maybe they give him a little bit of a break. So some interesting things there. But also, Nick Robertson, I wanted to just touch on this because he's been off to a very cold start this season. He was asked about what his thoughts are on 1 goal in 14 games. I don't have a good relationship with the puck right now, but I'm happy with my overall game and finding ways to stay confident without scoring. Darius, what are your thoughts on these couple of things, both Austin Matthews and Nick Robertson? It would be a good time for Robo to step up in lieu of the absence of Matthews and maybe Nylander or Domi if either of them factor out of the game tonight. But what are your thoughts on these comments? It's the right mentality to have.
Yeah, the right mentality. And I mean, I think he's been approaching each game the right way. I've been on record on stream and other videos to say that I don't think Nick Robertson is losing them games. He's not had a negative impact. He's not scoring, which you need him to do because the type of player he is, he needs to score. That's his value, right? He's an offensive type of player, but he's keeping things simple. And I don't think he's making any egregious mistakes, especially not like last year. There was a couple times last year where I'm like, what is this player doing in the neutral zone and the defensive zone? But this year, I think he's cleaned it up a little bit. He's playing a more simple style. I think Berube's fine with that, right? And I think the goal scoring is going to come at some point. He scored last Friday. It didn't count, but it did go in the net, right? So, tough break there where, obviously it was goaltender interference, but I think it's going to eventually come. And I think he's doing the right things and he's creating chances for himself. And his line was the best line on the ice the other night as well. So he's just got to keep doing what he's doing. And I think he'll be fine. I think he'll start finding the back of the net. Obviously, I think it has some to do with luck. But again, I will say, and I think Berube, shares this sentiment as well, that he doesn't have negative impacts on games. He's not losing them games or anything. I feel like he's been pretty responsible in what he's been doing. But obviously he's got to get going. He's got to score.
Yeah, I agree. And I think ultimately if he doesn't score, then he's going to lose his spot to whether that's a guy like Connor Dewar, Pontus Holmberg, Bobby McMann, all these other guys who are in there. So let us know down below what your thoughts are on this. A lot of interesting things going on. But at the end of the day, they have a very big game tonight. First night of a back-to-back. It'd be nice to start with a win. And it's going to be interesting to see what we assume Anthony Stolarz does in net as well tonight against Allmark. So let us know down below what your thoughts are on that. We'll see you later.